And welcome back to just another review of Hunchback of Notre Dame, everyone's favorite movie. One of my favorite Disney movies for sure. I love almost everything about this film, from Quasimodo to Esmeralda to the horny priest villain. I love it all.
And right now I'm listening to Isaiah say all of these things about this movie and looking at him completely clueless, because I do not remember ever watching this movie in my entire life.
And we start this film with the background music that will become the villain's background music for the rest of the film. And as someone who's already watched this film, it really excites me because it's one of the best villain songs in the entirety of the Disney canon. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. All I can say is when we get to Hellfire, Hellfire slaps. There are only two villain songs that I can think of for me that even get close to Hellfire. And that's Be Prepared from The Lion King and Friends on the Other Side from The Princess and the Frog. And I'm going to do those movie reviews eventually. You'll see my opinions on those movies then. One of them is amazing and fantastic. The other one's a little bit overrated. And I'll let you guess which is which. And we get the opening song of the musical, The Bells of Notre Dame. Yes, this movie is a musical because every song in this movie slaps to the point where it should be treated like any other musical that you enjoy and love. You hear them singing this beautiful medley about the bells of Notre Dame and who's slamming those bells. Who else but Quasimodo, baby? But you don't know that yet. But I don't care. He's on the cover art of the film. You know it's Quasimodo. Everybody loves Quasimodo. But before we get back to Quasimodo, we get introduced to the most intimidating Disney villain, Judge Frollo. This dude is absolutely terrifying. From the first look of him just looming on his horse over the poor gypsies, these oppressed people that he is solely responsible for oppressing in the city of Notre Dame. It's just immaculate the way that this movie sets up its villain. In the first song of the film, what Disney villain do you know that you're aware of is so evil and black-hearted in his nature that he is willing to instantly kill a baby? Scar didn't kill a baby. He thought about it, but he didn't do it. Mother Gothel didn't kill no baby. She just kidnapped a baby. But this man was willing to drop poor baby Quasimodo into this well, and if it wasn't for the Archdeacon, you know he would have dropped this child. And then we finally get to see good old Quasimodo. A little bit of a busted face, a little bit of a hunchback, but obviously hella good hair. Look at that hair, so nice. As he's so nice because he's teaching a bird how to fly and talking with his gargoyle friends about how he wished he could go to the Festival of Fools. I actually really like the Festival of Fools. I'm a bit of a fool myself. I can crack jokes with the best of them. Ha ha hee. I'm a funny man.
So I'm just wondering if these gargoyles, which are statues, can talk to Quasimodo. What about those statues with the creepy eyes in the beginning of the movie? Can they talk? Because if they can, I don't want to live in this city, because that's creepy as hell.
And Quasimodo is watching on and looking at the Festival of Fools with his gargoyle friends that are trying to convince him to go to the Festival of Fools. But they are quickly interrupted by Frollo checking up on his young ward, as Frollo is just as evil as any Disney villain can be. Yeah, just a dash of lying, a little bit of gaslighting, a tiny bit of manipulation, and a smidgen of attempted murder, and you get the true villain that is Frollo.
Also, he is extremely hypocritical. He was like, oh, anyone else would have drowned you. Your own mother abandoned you. You know, Frollo, you were the one who killed his mom. And you were the one who proceeded to try to drop him down the well. Hypocrite much?
I think when you're evil and a Disney villain, you get to be a little hypocritical. I think it's just allowed. But I digress. We will get on to the second song of the musical, this fantastic movie, which starts with more Frollo gaslighting as he's telling Quasimodo that he is a monster, he is ugly, he is unwanted, nobody will ever love him. And you see the effects of the gaslighting, as following each of these statements is Quasimodo's affirmative statements of, I am ugly, I am unwanted, I am a monster, I need forgiveness. This is the realities of an abusive relationship. This is what that literally looks like. But we see that doesn't bring Quasimodo down, not even one bit, as he's still hopeful and wishing for that one day out there. And unfortunately, this would be such a better song in this movie for me if it wasn't for TikTok, and TikTok ruins everything for everyone, as this song has been co-opted by many of TikToks, and it sort of ruined this song's impactful quality for me. And we then see the captain of the guard coming to town after being gone for so many years. And he's trying to find his way to the Palace of Justice as he hears some gypsies playing some music. And he donates a few gold just to see these gypsies get harassed by guards. One of them played by Patrick from SpongeBob. Good old Patrick, the oafish guard. As he then has his horse sit on one of them as the gypsies run away. And the guards take him to the Palace of Justice. And Phoebus gets to the Court of Justice to meet Frollo. And oh man, if Frollo could not get any more evil, we have to add good old-fashioned genuine racism to the bucket of evils that is Count Frollo. Even just being around him for a little bit just makes a good guy like Phoebus cringe as he hears the whipping sounds and Frollo mentioning, don't whip so fast, because if you whip slower it hurts more. And then seeing how he wants to crush all these gypsies like ants, pure evil, pure evil.
And we see even more of the beauty of this musical as we're listening to the song about the topsy-turvy day that is the Festival of Fools. And finally, Quasimodo has the courage to get out of the tower. As he just starts to have fun, he meets this gypsy lady, and she says, hey, nice mask. Then he just gets his confidence back, which is really heartwarming to see. But then it's just all ruined by the most horrible person on the face of the planet, Count Frollo, a man that is truly everything I hate in a human being. But I guess that's what makes villains evil, right?
And you get to see how even more of an evil individual Frollo is, because he takes over the happy, joyful nature of the song that's going on and replaces it with his own theme music, his own evil song, which they do in musicals to tell stories without even have to tell stories. It's amazing the way that they do that. And it's not just some musicals, it's some of the best musicals. They do the exact same technique. If you ever watched Hamilton, watch Hamilton again and notice that anytime Alexander Hamilton sinks his way into a song, there's a riff from My Shot in that song. And we see that they're voting for the ugliest face in Notre Dame and Quasimodo wins. Yet he forgets he wasn't supposed to be there in the first place and Count Frollo is right there staring at him the entire time. And he wins the award, but he's so caught up in the moment, the one fleeting moment of happiness, that he's not even thinking about the punishment he's about to be dealt. Because he broke the one rule he had. Don't leave the bell tower. Why are you out of the bell tower, Quasimodo? I wanted to have fun. Now you have to face the most evil man in Disney. I hope the one day of happiness was worth it, because it's about to go downhill from here. And immediately after having this sense of happiness, the village people immediately ruin it by chaining him down to a spinning wheel like a monster and proving that everything his abusive caretaker has ever told him in his entire life was true. But then he's shown kindness from the gypsy lady Esmeralda. As soon as he's shown kindness, Frollo immediately tries to slap that shit out of there, as he orders his entire guard to fight one woman, and all 10 of them lose to one woman as she impresses Captain Phoebus. And Phoebus gives them a look that shows disappointment, and Esmeralda gives Quasimodo a look that shows him that he definitely messed up. And as Esmeralda runs away into a church, and Phoebus is the only one who finds her, and they get into a little scuffle, as one would say, and Phoebus learns her name is Esmeralda as Frollo follows them into the church, and she claims sanctuary, and is now stuck in the church as Frollo adds horny old man into his list of many things that make him one of, if not the most evil Disney villain that has ever graced the Disney stages. Also, on another note, isn't it like super duper creepy when he grabs Esmeralda and just looks at her all lust-like and gives her old sniff of the hair, just a good old in all of her hair? He knows what he's doing. He knows what's going on, but he can't admit it because he's a man of the Lord.
And I'm just adding this to the list of many reasons why I hate Frollo the most out of every Disney villain I have ever seen.
And we get to the next song, God Help the Outcast, as Esmeralda shows us that she's not just a pretty face, but also has a beautiful singing voice, because every song in this musical slaps so hard. And it shows that Esmeralda is not motivated by any sort of selfish means, that she's motivated just to help her own people. And it sort of solidifies on another level this true good versus evil situation that this movie presents, as even Quasimodo is drawn in by her amazing singing voice. God, this musical is just so good. And Quasimodo gets followed by Esmeralda up to the bell tower where he shows him all the nice bells. You know, first Maria, second Maria, third Maria, fourth Maria, Ave Maria, Big Maria. And they have a little heart-to-heart about Quasimodo not being a monster. And they come to a conclusion now they're good friends. And Quasimodo helps Esmeralda escape as they go back down. And she gives him a little woven necklace that will show him the way. And as he comes back up, but who else does he see but Phoebus? And as they scuffle, Quasimodo picks him up with one hand. And even though he has an armor and sword on, it just shows how strong Quasimodo is. You gotta realize that Phoebus is probably around 200 pounds. And then that armor has to be a good 50, 100 pounds. You know, it looks like plate. That sounds about right. Then you got the iron sword, which is another, 10 to 20 pounds, give or take. On the lowest estimate, this man's like at almost 300 pounds. And Quasimodo was picking him up with the might of Zeus with one hand with ease. Like he's about to throw him down this entire flight of stairs. I feel like Phoebus got lucky.
May I just say, I would love to see Quasimodo just pick Frollo's ass up and throw him down a whole flight of stairs, and then pick him up again and throw him down a huge 3-story vaulted balcony. I would just love to see that.
And then we see Quasimodo sing a song about how an angel has shown light on him, and how it's the good guy song after finally finding someone who cares about you, and then immediately afterwards we have the villain song of the musical. And oh my god, it's just so much better than the good boy song. You like heroes? Yeah, of course, but the villain song is just so much better. And as we see good old classic victim blaming as he blames Esmeralda for him being horny. And that leads down to a line of thinking that if he can't have Esmeralda, then nobody can have Esmeralda. If he has to suffer the burning passions of hellfire, then so shall he. And I not only love the tones of the song and the themes of the song being compared to Quasimodo before showing good love and Frollo showing obsession, we also see beautifully drawn imagery of the fire reaching out to Frollo as Frollo takes the fire and then it gets put out and pulls away from him as all the churchgoers are going past him. Oh, it's just so beautifully drawn. It's just so dang good.
And what's not good is Frollo assuming that Esmeralda is good enough for him. You are possibly one of, if not the worst person alive at this time, and most definitely the worst person in any Disney movie that I've personally seen. And Esmeralda is such a sweet, caring, and wholesome girl. How dare you assume that you're good enough for her? You're good enough for that hellfire, that's for sure.
We now see that Frollo has such a hateful personality that he's now searching up and down and all around the city for gypsies. And Esmeralda, because the hate runs deep, so deep that he's willing to burn an innocent family for doing nothing but survival, to the point where even Phoebus, good old Captain Phoebus, is not willing to listen to Frollo's cruel demands. And afterwards, Phoebus stands up to Frollo and then immediately gets sentenced to death. But Esmeralda can't let that happen, so she hits a horse with a rock and everything just works out. And Phoebus gets shot by an arrow as he's fleeing, and then he lands in some water and it looks like he's gonna drown. Oh no! But then he gets saved by Esmeralda as Frollo then decides that to find one singular gypsy woman that he is willing to burn all of Paris to the ground. As then we cut back to Quasimodo in the bell tower, waiting for Esmeralda to return, worried. And it's gonna be a long time till she comes back, and the gargoyles are trying to cheer him up by singing him a song to let him know that because he's ugly, he's unique. And the fact that he's so ugly, it makes him so much more special than everybody else, because there's nobody else in the world that's gonna look like him. And I understand this song so much. It speaks to my being because I'm ugly, and I'm so ugly that there's nobody in the world that looks like me. Yet I was still able to get a wife, and I love her, and that's what makes this song super special.
So this entire movie, it's been very obvious to me that Quasimodo is very much friend-zoned. You see this beautiful woman, the first one that you have seen, that has talked to you, cared about you, and was not scared to go into your bell tower, and he obviously mistakes this platonic friendship as a romantic interest, but who can blame him? I mean, first of all, Esmeralda is gorgeous, but that's that's besides the fact. He has been trapped in this bell tower his entire life, where his only friends have been a terrible human being that hates everything about him, and some damn rocks that tell him lies to boost his self-confidence. It just makes me feel bad because I know he's gonna get let down at the end of the movie, and that just sucks.
And then we get another visit from Frollo, everyone's favorite Inquisitor, as he shows up and lets Quasimodo know, man, you're still a piece of garbage. And I know you saved the gypsy girl, but don't worry, I'm gonna kill the gypsy girl. We're gonna attack her hideout at dawn with 1,000 men. A nice, exact, round number. I don't think he has exactly 1,000 men, but saying I have 1,123 men just doesn't have the same ring to it. And then Quasimodo and Phoebus make their way down and through the city together on an adventure to save Esmeralda as they find a gravestone and think for a second, would we become grave robbers and knock down the gravestone to the side to head down into the catacombs to find the Court of Miracles to save the girl and save the day? Because that's what heroes do. And as they head deeper into the catacombs, they find the Court of Miracles and immediately get captured by a whole bunch of thieves and hoodlums and hooligans as they're about to be hanged to death. As a robber comes out and they think they have no friends, to immediately find that someone is their friend. Good old Count Frollo, everyone's favorite person to hate, comes at dusk with 1,000 men to kill all the hoodlums and robbers and other people of the night.
You know what I don't get? Why in the world didn't they cover their tracks better? Like, Quasimodo and Phoebus knew that Frollo was looking for this place and that he was going to attack. Why did they not put the stone lid back onto the grave and cover their tracks? It just doesn't make sense to me at all. You literally left the staircase open for the entire world to see and expected Frollo not to find it. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
And we see Frollo take Esmeralda and try to burn her at the stake for failing to use his powers of being old man horny to convince her to come with him. Instead, she chooses to burn to death like a straight gangsta. And then we see Quasimodo as he's chained down, as he sees his girl about to get burned to death, and he uses his power of being weird ugly horny to break his chains holding him down to save his girl. As we see Frollo try to ransack Notre Dame herself, who else but Phoebus starts a civilian uprising as he convinces the citizens of Paris that attacking Notre Dame is the last straw that these people should put up with, as they are all now fighting the guards and the guards are fighting the civilians and Quasimodo and some gargoyles. And I'm just sitting here shocked that none of the soldiers are running in fear that these gargoyles are attacking them, that they can clearly see them moving and attacking. Then they should know that the walls and statues of Notre Dame themselves are blessed by God to stop them for their crimes, and they know that this war is not a just war in the eyes of their grand creator. Their grand creator, their God themselves, who put up with so much until now, until you start recognizing that the fact that the church itself is attacking the soldiers, and the soldiers should not listen to Frollo anymore, because the general public have realized that Frollo is a monster. They should join the French in revolt, which is what the French do. You're following a monster that's willing to stab his own pseudo-son, his own quasi-son, if you will, in the back over some woman. I understand the desire to pine after a beautiful woman, but this has gone too far. He's swooped so low to the point that he's watching your own city burn. The city that you all swore to protect. And you're going to try to kill the individuals that you have sworn to protect, the church that you've devoted your life to, your own creator that you protect, that you serve. You deserve to be thrown into a fiery pit, cast down below like these so-called sinners that you've seen, that you are fighting against. Frollo, my man, at the end of it all, can you say it was worth it? That you say that you've lost your pride, your envy, your greed, your gluttony? Was it worth it all? Your sins, your fraud. You're a fraud that's caused the pain of your own city, your own burning, as your people rise up to stand against you. Look at the chaos that you've caused. Everything that's burned, everything you've held dear. Was it worth it? Because at the end, you will burn in the same flames that you want to burn Esmeralda in. At the end, Quasimodo and the people will be triumphant against you. You will burn in the same hellfire that you wished upon your enemies. Because in the end, good will always triumph over evil. In the end, the heroes will save the day, and you, Frollo, will have to meet your maker to see the sins that you have done and see the girl that you loved in the arms of Captain Phoebus as you were attacking the wrong person the entire time. Your entire goal was a mistake from the start. That your sins would justify the means would have been never what you have wanted in the first place. Your greed and your lust in the end was your own undoing. All in all, The Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of my favorite Disney films. I love the artwork. I think the songs in the movie are fantastic, every single one of them, from The Bells of Notre Dame to Hellfire to the other songs that don't matter as much as those two songs. I really hope that you've enjoyed our review, and I hope that if you haven't watched this movie that you decide to go check it out. If you like this review, go ahead and hit the like button down below. It really helps. Make sure to hit us up with a subscribe if you want to see more, and leave us a comment down below about any other movies that you would like to see us review.
And we will see you next time.